and welcome once again to another special episode of India Today, India Tomorrow, where we have today a very special group of people with us. One of India's leading business families have come together for India Today, India Tomorrow. Please welcome on the show, joining me now, Sajjan Jindal, chairman of the JSW Group, his wife Sangita Jindal, who is the chairperson of JSW Foundation. I'm joined by Parth Jindal, managing director of JSW Cement and Paints, and also the mind behind JSW's entry into the world of sport, as well as Tarini Jindal, the managing director of JSW Reality, and Tanvi Jindal Shetty, founder of Museum of Solutions. Thank you all very much for joining us. You're all very nervous, I believe. Huh? Why are you nervous? First time before the camera?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Kind of.
But you're more cool before the camera, right?
Yeah, no, but it's first time we're all together, so it's.
Oh, first time all together on camera?
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Yes.
All of us together.
But do you all meet often or not? Or are you all living 5 very different lives?
We're very connected.
Very.
We meet every week.
Every week, once a week?
Yeah.
And I call each of them at least 3 times a day.
Even now?
Yeah, even now. Every single day. Where are you? What are you doing? What are you having for dinner? It's like a...
No, because it's a very different world that the 3 of you live to the world that your parents live in. You all had love marriages?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You're married to a Maharashtrian, you to a Punjabi, you to a Gujarati. So, very different, right? From the world.
National integration.
National integration in one room.
I give them full control to do what you want.
Well, not
We
that.
didn't give you a choice.
Because as the sort of head of the family, traditional old style Hisar family comes to Mumbai in a way. It's a new world from where you started off with your father.
Absolutely new way, and I give a lot of credit to Mumbai for whatever our family has done, and wherever I have how I have succeeded or whatever I have achieved in life. I give a lot of credit to Mumbai because this city has so much energy, so much power, so much energy. It's not about only politics. It's not about only money. It's about, I don't know, it's, she's like head of culture. She brought in so much culture in our family. I mean, Mumbai has given us so much. It's amazing.
And because when you started off in Hisar with your father, O.P. Jindal, must have been a very different world that you started off in.
So Rajdeep, Hisar is also a very nice town. When I was growing up, it was a very modern town. It was, though it sounds Haryanvi, but it is, and it's not like one of those Haryana village or town. It was a very modern town with a university. We had swimming pools, we had tennis courts, squash courts. So we grew up in a modernish town. So that was, and of course I went to boarding school in Mussoorie and then to Bangalore to do my engineering. So we had this. My family, my mother wanted us to get very well educated, so she sent us to good schools all the time. So it was interesting.
I'm looking at Sangita's reaction to that, and she doesn't sound like the person who wanted to spend the rest of her life in Hisar, right?
So basically we had an arranged marriage. And I married to the potential. That was the story.
I see. You married, you saw potential. In Sajjan Jindal, you saw potential of the future.
Because I was born and brought up in Kolkata. And all the culture, the art, everything, all my friends were Bengali. I was from a modern high school. And I realized that one day this young lad and their family will actually grow.
Not you, your mother. What you? You were 19 years old.
I also agreed, and I knew I turned them around. That's my point.
Were you freer in that sense? Were you given much more free choices? You went to an NYU, you all went abroad to study. Do you think you all were much freer than your parents were in the choices you made with your lives?
I think my sister was the first grandchild of the Jindal family to go abroad to study.
Wow.
But full credit to my mom.
Yeah.
Like she always really pushed for
Independence.
I mean, you never told them at any stage, this is the way you want them to lead their lives. The choices they made are their own choices.
As in, she tried many times, but I think we always were able to push back. And I think they allowed us to kind of speak our mind from a very young age.
The reason I'm asking you this is because a lot of business families in the 21st century have struggled to adjust to the new age. And have either then broken apart or not been able to grow. Here I find each of you doing very, very different things, which is that something you consciously felt was important? Not just steel, we've got to do more.
Yeah. No, it was actually I never planned it that way, both of us. But the idea was that we were a very close family because we lived away from our joint family in Delhi. So we were a nuclear family here in Mumbai. But so we were very close. We were like, I never brought home any work. I worked very hard all through my life. But when I came home, I wanted to spend time with my kids. When I was very young, when we just gotten married, I was reading this book about Rockefeller Senior, and somebody asked him, one interviewer asked him during his, final days, that what do you regret the most? And he said that I regret not seeing my kids grow up, because I was working hard and I never saw my kids grow up. So that had left a real mark on my head that, I don't want to live that life. Even if I do well in life, even if I make money, but I don't want to see that I've never played with my kids, and also I've really grown up with them like friends. I mean, Sangita, of course, is complete friends with them, and I also, today also we work out in the gym together, we go and play a game of tennis together, squash together, cricket all the time. So, life has been a lot of fun. So that's why we both of us gave them a lot of independence, that whatever you want to do, if it's your choice, if you like them, so be it.
So even your business choices, because I saw the two of you at a Delhi Capitals match, if you recall, a few months ago, and you all were getting very excited. The match was close, lots of father-son bonding, but you sort of venturing into other areas, particularly sport, football, Bengaluru FC, Delhi Capitals. Was that again your decision, or do you go and consult dad and say, look, should I get into franchise cricket?
No, I think both mom and dad have been extremely supportive to all of us. So whenever we go with a new idea, there's been a lot of encouragement. So sports, I think from childhood, the entire family, whether it was my mom's side or dad's side, were very passionate about sport. I remember every Olympic Games since 1996 is Leander Pace's first medal. I remember every hockey game that we watched together, and it was always ingrained that we need to do something for sport. And obviously my chacha, when he fought for the flag, and the whole passion for India was there from my Babaji, and then my chacha, and then everyone at home. So when the idea came that we should get into sport, they were extremely encouraging. Both mom and dad said that go for it. It's a great way to give back to India, and it's a great way for the country to progress.
When Neeraj Chopra finally got that Olympic gold, I said, Parth has to get a slice of it. Ek chota sa to Parth you must keep with you, right?
No, I think all credit to him. But
So we were all sitting and watching Neeraj Chopra's final throw, and I remember
in front of a TV or
in front of the TV,
Yeah.
and it was because it was in Japan. We couldn't go there, right, for this Olympics because of COVID. So we were all there, and we were all very nervous. And suddenly he threw this, and he won the gold. This fellow started crying. He was jumping and crying and jumping.
We were all crying.
Yeah, so this fellow was he was hysterical. We couldn't control him. So then I told him that, okay, now he's done, it's okay.
And that's fantastic, because all of you, you worked with Teach for India, which is a great NGO which works among underprivileged, and you worked in Mankur in Mumbai as a teacher for a couple of years.
I did. I think the one thing that I have to give credit to both my mom and dad is that they never say no to us. If we can prove ourselves and if we can have the right reasoning, they might not agree with us 100%, but they won't say no to us. So when I was actually placed in the school in Mankur, my mom was very upset. She was like, how can you go there every day? I was like, Mom, I'm going to go, and I'm going to go by train. And she was like, there's no way you're going to travel by train. So what I used to do is to go by car to the train station, tell my driver, you stay here, and then take a rickshaw and go to school, because I didn't want the community to know that I'm coming in a private car.
To all our viewers, Mankur is very far away from
Yeah.
South Mumbai, where we are at the moment. And you then moved into holistic education, and that's
And
where
it's
you're...
one of the biggest slums.
It's the
Like
That's
Dharavi,
right.
Manipur.
it's where everyone from P.D. Mello Road and Churchgate area has been rehabilitated in these
That's
Mada
right. So
housing.
you worked in a slum area
Yeah.
for a couple of
Yes.
years amongst kids. Incredible. And you've also discovered yourself in the world of design and architecture, which is again very different from the world of steel. All of this is very far away from what the original family business was. Is that again your personal interest and choice?
Yes, absolutely. But I think the one thread amongst all of us, which my parents instilled, was my dad always said to us, with privilege comes responsibility. And, whether it's sports, whether it's education, whether it's architecture, craftsmanship, it all comes with that sense of deep responsibility towards our country and how to make it better.
Corporate social responsibility, which is what JSW Foundation also sort of represents in arts, culture, education. Is this something that you thought is your way of taking forward the family brand in a way? Because in, let's say 30 years ago, very few people did real philanthropy. There were the Tatas and a few other groups. Now more and more corporates are getting into doing sort of genuine CSR work.
I think in all business families that corporate social responsibility is ingrained in all of us. I somehow, when I shifted to Mumbai, I wanted to do something different because I was not allowed in the family business. So I always used to tell my girls, of course Parth I knew will join the business. I used to ingrain him also when he's 5 years old, that you have to come and you have to join the business. He knew it.
Are you saying women can't join the family business?
No. When I was, in my
In
generation,
your era,
women
they
were not allowed in the family business.
Would you
in
change,
my generation.
Would you change that today? If your if your granddaughter wanted to join the family business and said, I want to...
So I used to tell these girls that you must attempt joining the family business. And after they came back, they realized she tried. She went to the JSW Energy Board, and she said, "I'm just not interested. It's not my passion."
In that sense, steel is not an easy business, right?
Yeah.
From the outside, it looks very easy. You've sort of diversified, built it into a multi-billion empire from what your father started with small buckets, I think, in Hisar. Was that your passion, that you want to build this big steel empire?
When I was growing up in Hisar, my father was building this steel mill and was ever expanding it, but in a very small way. At that time, India was very small, right? So I grew up watching him working very hard, but I really enjoyed it. The industrial setup, and though it was small at that time, but I really enjoyed it, and that stayed in with me. And when I was doing my engineering, I really wanted to make it big in steel business. And when I wanted to set up my first steel plant, I went to my dad and I said that I want to set up the steel plant. He said, "Are you crazy? Steel plant is not a joke. You will develop a blood pressure, you will have diabetes, and you will lose your sleep, lose your appetite. I don't want you to do that. You must enjoy your life, and we have now enough. Why do you want to do all that?" So that day I got a little depressed, and next day again morning I went to him. No, Dad, but I really want, and I've got this great idea, and I want to do it. He said, "Okay, if you really want to do it, and you are okay to live with all these problems which I have yesterday told you, then you go ahead. But don't expect anything great from me or your brothers. If you want to do it will be your own baby. You will swim or drown with it. Don't think if you fail, then you can come back to Hisar, and I'll give you one room in the house and one room in the office. You can spend your life there." Yeah, so he gave me carrot and stick, both.
Interesting, because you find that a lot of family businesses are caught between, do we stick with the old economy or do we turn to the new economy businesses increasingly? Is that a battle? Would you be as keen as he was with his father to say, "Dad, I want to expand the steel business"? Or are you more inclined to say, "I want to diversify into new areas where I'm more comfortable with"?
No, I think it's a bit of both, because if you look at the core strength of the family and the core strength of the group, it is steel, and there is such a large opportunity in India. So, and India is going to continue to need steel for so many more years, and the amount of expansion, the amount of growth that's happening, steel is going to be very relevant. So we are the leaders in it, so why go away from that? However, at the same time, we have to continue to remain relevant. So we have to move into new businesses. So we got in now into the cement business, which is also an old economy business, but it's linked to the steel business. Paint is a completely new business that we've entered. And now we're starting a building materials online platform as well. So it's very important to remain relevant. So, and I also personally really enjoy, these businesses whenever I go to the steel plant and I see what mom and dad have built, it's truly inspirational to see that size, that scale. Otherwise, just being on a computer and building online things, it's exciting, but to see a steel plant and to see a manufacturing setup like that is really exciting.
The reason where I'm coming from is that you went to Cathedral, all of you went to Cathedral, South Mumbai school versus Hisar, where you went, is a huge, cultural shock in a way. So many young people tell me, we are more comfortable in the digital world than the old bricks and mortar steel industry. Did you give him any piece of advice when he was?
No, I don't believe in giving too many advices, and neither did my father. He never told me don't do this or do that.
Sink and swim, sink or swim.
Yeah, it's your baby. You do if you sink or swim, exactly. So that's what I also, when he finished from Harvard and came back, I told him that, listen, buddy, we are actually buddies, and I'm also young, and I'm not going to give up my business. So steel is my baby. So you got to start something, and I have these other industries, or you build your own. So that's what he started: cement and paint and sports, and now many other new ideas like online and all he's doing. Similarly, she decided to do fashion, and first year, because she's the oldest, so most of the experiments both of us done on her.
She was the one you experimented on.
Experimented on, and then failed, and then thereafter we left them alone. So we told her that, why don't you join me in the steel business or do something, She said, no, Dad, I want to do what I enjoy the most. So she started with some fashion boutique, which she didn't succeed, and then she wanted to do something else. I said, okay, do what you like.
So now I take steel, cement, paint, and I do architecture.
And you do architecture, and you've got sort of housing projects coming up.
Yes, and I take commodity industries and I make them into luxury products.
So there's always a link somewhere down the way. You're doing education, which is very much part of your foundation. Are you the glue that holds all of them together?
Yes.
Are you the one?
I'm the only one.
Huh?
Yeah.
She's the
100%.
Hey, 98%, 2%.
yeah. Something you've got to give something to your dad.
Some credit to me also, man.
But is that your role in a way? Is that how you see your role? That you've got to be the person who provides them some kind of a moral compass. That look, whatever we do, we are family at the end of the day.
So I had just had my daughter, and I was very happy just being at home. She could not handle it. She was like, Tanvi, you have to go to office. You have to do something. Take this project. Take that project.
And whenever we don't meet for some time, she'll always tell me, have you met your sisters? Where are they? Do you talk to them? Have you had lunch with them? And she tells them also, have you spoken to Parth? Where is he? What is he doing? And she keeps us all together.
There's this huge desire from my parents, which is incredible for us to create. And we get full freedom. But if I was at home and not doing anything, it would drive them bananas. I mean, when I was 17, not married, come back from college, if I wasn't up at 9 o'clock, the banging on the door would start. That it's 9, like we finished half our day, why are you not up?
So no difference for you between the girls and Parth. That they all have to be something as individuals, right?
They've seen us grow. They've seen Sajjan and me grow. They were young children when they knew that their dad would come at 9 or 10 in the night. So they know that we have strived hard to who we are now.
No, the one thing though that you all haven't done before I take a break is Netagiri.
That's in our blood though.
Yeah, then Naveen became a member of parliament.
My father was
Your
member of
father
parliament.
did. Your mother also
Yes.
dabbled in politics, but you stayed away.
Yeah.
Is that the Mumbaikar in you saying that ye sab Delhi walo ko karna hai? Is that a bit of that?
Sort of, yeah. So when we go to Hisar, like we go Diwali, Holi, we go to Hisar, right? So there is a lot of this passion or this feeling comes in, because you have thousands of people come and meet you, and Jai goes on, and so you feel ki you can also do politics. But because of Bombay, you feel that you are meant to do business. You're meant to give back to this country through creating a bigger economy for the nation. So that's what I'm fit for. There are maybe 10,000 politicians who are in the parliaments or assemblies and all those things. So I will be one of them. I always tell my brother Naveen also, what is this? Or my mother, what is this? This is not for us. We are meant for something different. We were supposed to do. Okay, my dad joined politics when he became 65, and he decided that okay, now I've done enough. Now I can go into politics. So, okay. And that was my dad was always very old school, very Haryanvi, loved the villagers because he was a villager himself. So he really wanted to do something truly for the villagers. But I don't think anybody else really today. I don't want to be controversial, so therefore I'll stop here. But
we won't talk too much politics. We won't talk too much politics because it's very interesting. Your grandfather was a farmer. Your father started the business. You built the business and taken it to new levels, and then you've got the next generation. So as we look ahead to the future, to India tomorrow, how do you see the future? Let's start with you, Parth, in a way. What is for you? Where do you see yourself in the business 20 years from now?
Oh, I think we see ourselves as a group that is going to focus on the core economic sectors of the Indian economy. I think as a group, productivity is going to be a big focus for us. Digitization is going to be a big focus for us. And going into more related realms within the economy is going to be a big focus. So I think the whole economy is moving towards digital, and even the way customers consume products is moving towards digital. So how we as JSW are going to transform ourselves to cater to our customers' requirements is going to form the next decade and then the future.
So e-commerce being a big driving force in a way for even all the products that you have.
Absolutely.
Because we were speaking before we did this interview about even the reality sector. Once associated with how do I pay off someone under the table. Now you're saying with RERA there, things are changing. You can do clean real estate today, right?
Absolutely.
Is that something that has given you a sense of assurance that therefore I can do this for the next 10, 20 years?
Yes, absolutely. And the system has become quite seamless. You upload everything on the internet. The officers will respond to you. Even getting the permissions for any new building permissions or anything has become much easier. So it's changing, and it gives you a lot of hope. And
you feel equally hopeful about education, having worked, actually, as you've said, in slum areas among underprivileged children. Do you really hope that we will have a structure where everyone gets equal opportunity?
I think
Is that going to really happen?
I think the groundwork is started. I think with the new education policy that was released in 2020, I think that has a lot of right things in it, but we have to see how the implementation really happens. I think the problem is that the education as a whole has to evolve. I think the way that we've been taught for so many years is not relevant in today's world. Children need to learn how to think, how to pivot, how to adapt much easier than we had to as children.
But does that trouble you when you see the gross inequalities that exist? The kind of schools that you had access to, higher education, and then you work among people who just don't have that. Is that something that haunts you at times? Or has it changed you in any way as a person?
I think children are children. It doesn't matter from which income bracket they come from. I think all children are very, very hungry to learn. And they just need the right outlets and the right exposure to be able to learn and do something. Yes, there are children who are more fortunate than the others and get that exposure a lot easier. But the idea is, at least what I want to do in the next 20 years is to do my part and provide that exposure to the children who don't have that in their school. So that's where Museum of Solution really comes in.
Because the reason I'm asking you this is that there is there are people who will be watching this and say, look, the rich in India don't do enough, don't give back enough. Do you think that's a fair criticism, or do you believe, as we are seeing, people need to remove these stereotypes, blinkers?
I know this question is to Sangita,
but go ahead.
Before she answers, once my dad was not well, and we were in Breach Candy, and me, my mother and my dad was on a stretcher, and we were going down to the operation theatre. So she tells my dad that we must make a hospital in Bombay like Breach Candy. So what my dad on the operation theatre on the stretcher, he told her that beta, you should do hospitals in villages, in tertiary towns, right? And not in Bombay. Bombay has many hospitals, and there are big guys who will build hospitals in Bombay, Delhi. You think of the other parts of the country.
Is that what you want to do?
I think I retract from what you said. I think, as you said, that rich are unfair in what they are doing. I think we are doing, but it is not enough. We are doing our best, but still it is not enough.
But you want to take off from that. You believe that even if you want to give back, should you give back in a way not so much to the big city, but give back even more to rural India? In a way, from where his grandfather started as a
Yeah,
farmer.
so I think it is holistic. We are working mostly in the rural area, but you have to move forward even to the city. Look at the slums in Dharavi. Look at the people here. So I think whichever place we go, we should make a difference. And my only thing is, as you said about all my 3 kids, what will they be 20 years from now? I think they have lots to do. They have been given a lot of platform. They have to fly even harder than us. That is my point.
You know, I've often wondered, that's the great dream for any parent, right? That your
Yeah.
kids must fly even higher than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
is building.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're doing a marathon, as the two of you are planning, you've got to run faster than he does.
He has worked much harder, I must say, since compared to my children. They have already got, huge platform of everything.
That's okay. That's
Yeah, no, but that is true, right? And possibly his father worked even harder than he
Even
did.
harder. Of course
he
You know,
did.
he was the creator. So,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a way, with every generation, it gets easier.
yeah.
But also tougher part because you're going to have to emulate what he did in a way.
Absolutely.
You'll always be judged by what he did.
There's a famous saying, no, the first generation creates, the second generation grows, and the third generation destroys. And we are third generation, all of us. So I think there's a lot of pressure. There's also a lot of opportunity, and I think the platform that we have is a remarkable platform, and I think we all three are working very hard towards building our own businesses and also taking the group forward. I think I can point out to the work that we're doing in sports. I think nobody would have dreamt 10 years ago that one institute built in Vijayanagar can win India 3 Olympic medals, let alone 1, and 1 gold medal. And Paris, I am expecting 5 medals. And like mom was saying, like dad was saying, I think we are also doing a lot of work in rural India, because the hunger, the talent and the drive you won't find in Mumbai, you won't find in Delhi, you will find in the villages. And this is where all these athletes are coming from. So I think we are now taking sports to different parts of the country. We're taking all our businesses to different parts of the country, and the talent in this country is so immense, and we have such a big opportunity. We have to do something bigger and bigger and bigger.
You know, he mentioned the word hunger. You know, I've often wondered whether the next generation has the same hunger as the previous generation. Or, is that something you've instilled in them? Wo bhook to chahiye to sort of expand, to grow,
So-
the fire in the belly.
Yeah, so we, that's what I was always a little bit subconsciously concerned, that, they should not live abroad. They could live in London, luxurious life, or many Indians have left for London, right, living luxurious life. So I was always a little bit subconsciously concerned that shouldn't happen. So we used to spend our weekends in our factories, whether when we were building the one outside Mumbai.
Both of you together?
Both of you, always.
Wow.
We travel together with all the, full.
So it was a joint enterprise.
Yeah, joint enterprise.
Full on joint enterprise.
Yeah, when she
We never
was,
had any family holiday homes. The holiday homes were in the factory.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
and even if you go to our factories and you see our holiday homes, you will say you don't need any holiday home.
Right.
They're really beautiful. They're really amazing. So she created them, and we lived together. And like when, because they were girls and their interests were not in the steel business, but this guy even worked like a worker in our steel plant.
On the shop floor.
On the shop floor when he was out of school, I think,
Yeah,
right?
16.
Yeah, 16. So he was in the slag pit and moving the slag and all,
Really?
So yeah, so it was instilled kind of, not deliberately, but it happened that way.
Is that the challenge in a way, I think, for the next generation, that you keep the hunger going and keep building something new? It's a process of renewal, of expansion. I guess that's what tomorrow is, right?
No, I think for all of us, like growing up, we would always see mom and dad, and whenever we would go abroad, even for a holiday, if a road is nice, they would take photos and say, we need to make this. If a building is nice, they would say, look at this building, one day we have to make something like this. And today, all of us, whether it's my cement business or her real estate or her museum, our aim is to make it the world's best, not India's best. We all say that this building that Coco Didi is making is going to be the world's best building. Wow. The museum, children's museum she's making has to be better than Boston's Children's Museum. My cement factory has to be much, much better than any cement factory in the world. And I think that's what they have really instilled in us, that we have to be the best in whatever we do at a global level.
I think that's a wonderful way, in a way, to conclude, because I think that, in a way, symbolizes what you want to see in New India. that just give them the wings to fly and fly even higher than the previous generation did. It's been wonderful talking to all of you, inspiring in a way to see the passion and the energy and the ability to innovate. So may you grow from strength to strength, and you're not going to plan to retire to Hisar, right? That's
Not in a hurry, for sure.
Not in a hurry, for sure. Okay, wonderful. From Hisar to Mumbai to much more, to Olympic glory. Thank you all very much for joining me here on India Today, India Tomorrow. That's it on this special episode. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.